think this year is going to be like for John Calipari, Matt?
I mean, I think it's going to be the same, right? They're going to find a way to win 25 games somehow, some way, and it's going to be what's going to happen in the NCAA tournament. I think that's been the question mark the last several years at Kentucky. That's going to be the question mark this year at Arkansas. He's got the talent. I mean, John L. Davis is one of the best transfers in the entire country. What he was doing at FAU, he was like the one guy last year with all the expectations that FAU was dealing with that he didn't seem to flinch, and he brought it every single night. He goes for 15 tonight. They're going to be right there. They're going to be right there in the hunt for an SEC title, even though I think that Alabama and Auburn, and when you watch what Auburn did tonight, they're in a class of their own. But Arkansas is going to be right there, and they're going to win 25, 26 games, and it's going to come down for Cal. What are they going to do in the tournament? Are they going to bow out in the first or second round? Can they get to a second weekend? They have the talent to do it. It's great to see when you see players like DJ Wagner, or, whoever it may be that transfer. They kind of need a fresh start. And Wagner didn't have his best game, 7 points tonight, but that fresh start for him, maybe he needed to get away from BBN as well. So this team, they're going to win a boatload of games. It's all going to come down to what do they do come March once the tournament starts.
Yeah, Mike, I really, really want to like this Arkansas team a lot. I want to like them a lot because there's so many connections with like guys that Cal coached at Memphis that I grew up watching, like the son of Wani and Fierro and Billy Richmond. But I watched the full game tonight, and I came away very concerned. That they don't have shooting. They don't have any shooting. Boogie Flan is basically the only guy, and he got good looks, and he'll continue to get good looks, but everybody else is just a zero, it feels like, from that standpoint. Do you share that sentiment? I saw you sort of shaking your head, nodding. Can you find it? Like, what's your assessment of their offense?
Yeah, I watched the way Lipscomb guarded them tonight. They said, we're going to pack the paint. We're going to shut off all gaps. You got to shoot over us. And whatever they end up being 4 for 23 from 3 or whatever it ended up finishing at, that's going to be what they fight this year. In addition to, what Matt's saying, getting to that 25 win mark, getting to the NCAA tournament, winning in the NCAA tournament, there's so much role allocation that has to happen before they can get to that point. Because I think what you're going to run into is there's potential with this team for guys, I think, to fight their roles because there's so many guys that are capable of doing really great things. I mean, you look at Nelly Davis and Boogie Flan, like DJ Wagner, there's plenty of guys that have the talent to be what you would call like the guy. But if you have 4 guys that think they're the guy, that's when you run into issues. And so that's what I think they're going to fight early on. There were some things defensively. They switched 1 through 5 tonight with Ivasic, and that got a little disjointed. We'll talk about Baylor later. That's another point that I definitely want to hit on. But yeah, I mean, it's how they're going to buy in, mesh. And the one thing with Cal is, and this is just as someone that's not tied to the program, I'm not in and around that program, but you look back at like 2014, getting Devin Booker to come off the bench, right, and buy into his role. Karl Anthony Towns, hey man, you're going to be 10-7 this year, and you know what, we're going to go and try to go win a national championship. And even last year, right, you have 2 top 10 picks that come off the bench essentially, and he finds ways to get guys to buy in. Can he do that again this year? Because if he does, now you're going to be looking at what Matt's talking about, get into that 25 win mark, getting the NCAA tournament, and seeing how far you can go.
John, let me follow up on that real quick too. Like the consistency, because Mike just made a great point on just the pick and roll defense and switching 1 through 5. Last year, when you watched Cal's teams play at Kentucky, what's the consistency on how they're guarding ball screens? You would see them hedge sometimes. You would see them drop sometimes. You would see them ice sometimes. Like finding that level of consistency for this team. If you're going to switch 1 through 5, switch 1 through 5 and do it every single game. This is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to hang our hat on, and this is what we're going to be really, really good at. Or, you know what, we're going to be an ice team. This is what we're going to be really, really good at. Or in the middle of the floor, we're going to force everything to the ball handler's left hand. Like that level of consistency. Whatever you're going to do it. I thought that's like last year when you watched Kentucky play, especially on the defensive end of the floors. How are they guarding ball screens? They guarded them a multitude of ways, and that lack of consistency it ended up hurting them on the defensive end of the floor.
Matt, would you agree that new team, right? Like thinking like coaching hat, right? New team, trying to get guys all meshed together. In my personal opinion, right? Switching 1 through 5, even things off the ball, obviously ball screens, that's difficult for a new team.
Yeah.
A team that hasn't meshed. Like, would you agree, like out of all the schemes that you could throw together, that's one of the toughest ones, I think, to try to like get substance from early on?
I also think it's a bit of a bailout, and I think it gives guys an excuse to be lazy.
Yep.
Like I really believe that, Mike. And John can touch on this, because you'll see guys in the NBA, you'll see teams in the NBA that switch 1 through 5, and it's almost a way to protect their superstars, because it's an easy way to be lazy. I don't have to work as hard. If I got to run out here and I got to ice this ball screen, and it's a throw ahead pick and roll, so I'm guarding the guy in the middle of the floor, and he takes it and throws it to a wing, and now I got to sprint myself all the way over there to the wing and ice this ball screen. That's hard to do. But if I switch it, you know what? I don't have to work as hard. So I think switching sometimes is a bailout for guys to not play as hard. I think that's more of that. I'd like to hear from John's standpoint, just because there's a lot of switching that goes on, especially in the NBA at the next level. But I think sometimes in the NBA, it's a way to protect the superstars.
Yeah, switching is schemed up, right? Before the game, hey, 1 through 3, John, you're switching with 3 when this guy's in. It's not a thing that we just do all the time, because the worst defensive teams are the teams that switch all the time. And even with Arkansas, I'm going to go off the court. We've dissected them on the court. Stands weren't filled. The crowd was sitting down. There was no energy in the building. Yeah. Do you guys realize, like, do Arkansas fans,
which is not like that? That's not that. That's not that. It's normally not like that.
It was
place.
weird. It was weird just seeing the low energy when you just paid. Walmart just gave their life trust to John Calipari, and you got the highest NIL. Like, I was a little upset about that. And then, you know, with Arkansas on the court, you know, I'll keep it short and sweet. I hate their offensive creativity. You can't just throw the ball to guys and hope they bail you out. It works. Like Coach McCall said, it'll get you 25 wins, but I don't think it's going to get you to the promised land unless you have the generational talents and the John Walls and the Boogies and the ADs and the Devin Bookers and Carl Towns. You don't have that on that team. So you're going to need a little more offensive creativity. And then when I talked about how Rutgers looked like a cohesive unit, Arkansas didn't look like a cohesive unit. And we touched on that as well, like who's the guy. You know, there was a specific instance where DJ Wagner was like begging guys to get into the free throw huddle to come together. And to me, when I played, that's a sign of a little bit of distance and a little bit of kind of, you know, I don't know, just not together. And so I'm concerned about Arkansas. I just watching from the crowd standpoint and on the court, this thing could get ugly fast. As a betting man, my guy John, can't wait to fade them when some adversity hits.
Bro, it's crazy. I had the same thought, bro. I swear I told somebody that. Because they almost covered, right? They almost covered. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, man. We're gonna have that on the radar. There's no question about it. Well,